Well, we got a team that's not playing very well here at the end of spring training. In fact, I don't think they've had a good Cactus League at all. They're 5-13-1, just not hitting at all. They dragged a lot of guys here with the hope that we're going to find some answers to left field, behind home plate, and to fill out the whole bench bunch, which has drastically changed. Not a lot of guys have had good springs, and now we're just 10 days away. The other story is off the field. John Seidler took over yesterday as the point person in place of the late Peter Seidler, who passed away in November 2023. In a mini press briefing, he talked about the Padres. The trajectory of this franchise under his leadership will be the same. It's still get to the World Series. He said, my brother Peter had a vision. We're keeping that vision intact. He was indeed beloved. He says, our priorities for Padre baseball are obviously the vision of the Fall Classic, what we do at Petco Park, and the Padres community involvement. Said he was very saddened at the family lawsuit over the struggles over who should be the point person. Meanwhile, on the field, this is kind of hard to believe we're this deep into spring training. Manny Machado's hitting 111. Jake Cronenworth is hitting 200. The combined catchers, all of them, are hitting just 118. Eggy Rosario is hitting just 200. Jason Hayward is hitting just 118. There's a lot of guys haven't done very well in the spring that we thought the Padres were going to pick to be part of the makeup of this roster. Now, Gavin Sheets has hit 5 home runs in 4 days. That's pretty impressive. He's pushed his average up to 280. I think he's made the team. Whether he's made the team as a bench player or made the team as maybe a left fielder, part-time first baseman remains to be seen. Terso Ornelas is hitting 344, deserves to be their opening day. The surprise is the career 4A player that the Cleveland Guardians and the Yankees had. Oscar Gonzalez is still hitting 343. A little bit concerned about Robert Suarez. His ERA is over 19. He has had 3 bad outings in 5 outings this spring. I hope there's nothing physically wrong with him, but it's hard to believe an ace closer like this would be so poor right now. And obviously, I think there has to be concern that Matt Waldron has not become the consistent guy they hoped he would be, considering the emphasis he's put on developing the knuckleball. So those are all things Padres with now new leadership. But to me, some questions that I'm really concerned about with 10 days to go in spring training. John?
Yeah, Bobby Fastball's got some trouble. And it seems like he throws that fastball. It's heat, but it's kind of telegraphed. You kind of know it's coming. And I saw that he was working on some kind of a slider that looked a little different, a little bit different. It wasn't a changeup. It was breaking the other way. So there's hope there. Imagine if this Gavin Sheets thing, let's just pretend for a moment that he's the surprise of the year, the way Profar was last year. He could be your first baseman in DH and kind of rotate around there with a rise. And then, that could make a difference. I mean, the interview that I saw with Gavin Sheets is he goes, obviously there's superstars on this team and I'm not one of those guys, but I'm a dude like on the bottom third of the order where I can be productive and get on base and then be, the guys that can score when the superstars come around.
Well, he's got a history of hitting some long balls with the White Sox. He has a history of striking out a lot. So only time will tell, but I think he deserves now to be on the opening day roster, and it'll be up to Mike Schilt to figure out where he plays. Part-time player, platoon player. Is he a candidate to actually go to left field? But when you're hitting the amount of home runs he's hit, even though it's spring training pitching, and you've done that on a consistent basis, and you drag your batting average up to 280, deserves consideration to maybe be an everyday player and just see where he goes. The only concern is he was an everyday player with the White Sox and he couldn't stay in the major leagues.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he has a chance. The other part you're talking about, the catchers, nobody's hitting. Apparently, the only catchers that had an extra base hit is Ethan Salas. He had a double. Yeah. So sometimes I wonder if they're going to say, what the hell? Let's just go with the kid. But obviously that would be a bad move. I want to go back to the new owner, John Seidler. We're just kind of getting to know him.
New point person.
Yeah. And he's he's got a little bit of a different personality. He's a little more of a private, introverted guy. But in the interview, he made numerous references to the family's history with the O'Malley family. Mm-hmm. Help me understand this. When the Dodgers were in Brooklyn, were the Seidlers involved then, or was it just O'Malley? And then O'Malley brought him to L.A., but how did the Seidlers get in the mix, or is that like a married name that got in the mix?
They married into the family of Peter O'Malley, the son who replaced the late Walter O'Malley, who moved the franchise. Walter was in Brooklyn, brought it to L.A., As he aged and taught Peter O'Malley the business, he passed on, Peter ran it, and then the Seidler family got involved through marriages with all the different kids that are on the O'Malley family
some
tree.
strategic marriages.
Yes. So that's where
that explains it all. But some of the Padre fans on Twitter were like a little bit, put off by some of the Dodger references from John Seidler. I think it's just baked into the way he was brought up, because he was saying he was slow to embrace the beat LA chant. But, good on them. Hopefully they got this whole thing figured out. They got a point person. It's Seidler. It's the same vision. Now they just got to manage that Shield Seidler, distraction lawsuit, and then we're back to smooth sailing.
Well, I wouldn't say smooth sailing when your team is 5-13-1 this late in the Cactus League and people are sales pitching. We might be a World Series contender again. Yeah, not a good spring.
And to your point though, Manny and Jake, they're slow starters and they can go in droughts for a while. Let's hope they figure it out.
Okay, that's all things Padre baseball. You're invited to jump on board if you have a different opinion or if you agree with me that we ought to be talking about this problem. We go from that.